All right. Well, this is going to prove to be a very unusual video, and I just want to encourage you just to don't turn this off. Listen all the way through, because if you are struggling with any type of a sickness or just having a difficult time in your life, I believe this is going to encourage you. I believe this revelation came right out of heaven. I believe this is just something that is just going to be a blessing, an encouragement. It's really going to cause you to think some great thoughts that will go, heavenward. So I really want to encourage you just to listen all the way through. I know the title about Bill Gates and Jesus. How do you tie in Bill Gates and Jesus? But I'll tell you, man, you'll hear this, and it's amazing. It really is. Anyways, this particular dream started out, and I found myself just walking, and all of a sudden this young man came up next to me and began to just walk with me. I really didn't know who he was, but it seemed like he knew me in the dream, and so I just kind of assumed, and I just started kind of talking with him, and we talked about basic things, not anything sports, weather, what I mean, all the normal things that people talk about, not anything supernatural, spiritual in any way. Well, as we were walking and talking with each other, I noticed we went into a very wealthy neighborhood. And I looked around and I saw children that had, some expensive toys. They had some nice stuff. Hockey nets outside, archery sets, four-wheelers. They had some really neat things, but it was interesting. I didn't see any parents around. It was like the kids were outside in the driveway and the backyards, doing things, but there was really no parents around. Then all of a sudden the dream switched, and I found myself walking with the same gentleman in an area that was a very poor neighborhood. I noticed there were people playing basketball, but there were parents actually sitting around outside, maybe drinking, iced tea or something, but it just seemed like there was more of a community involvement. The neighborhood definitely wasn't as nice. It looked pretty poor, actually, but it was interesting between the contrast of the two, neighborhoods. Well, anyways, so we walk along a little further, and all of a sudden we come up to this property, and I'm telling you, it was absolutely gorgeous. This place had a lawn that looked like a golf course. It had beautiful flowers and shrubbery, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. Well, I'm standing with this guy who, again, I really don't know who he is, but he acts like he knows me, and so I'm just, I don't even know I'm in a dream. It's so real. And I'm just, I guess maybe in real life, if some guy assumed he knew me, maybe I just talked to him for a while trying to think of his name or something, because that's basically what was going on. Anyways, so we come to this property line, and he made a motion as though he was just gonna go walk right across and go in there, and I was almost felt like I had to stop him, hey, don't go in there, you know what I mean, you can get shot, you don't know the people there. Well, anyways, all of a sudden it's when I turned, he disappeared, and there was this lady that was standing there in his place. And I don't know, I remember she had these flowing, this yellow, flowing garment or something. I don't remember all the details or whatever, kind of white, yellowish. And she basically invited me onto the property. Well, I thought, man, what a great thing to be able to go on this property. But I was kind of wondering where he disappeared to. I was kind of wondering, just how the lady showed up all of a sudden to invite me in. So I followed her across the line, stepped on the beautiful grass. Oh, my God, it was just gorgeous. Went all the way up to the front. I'm looking around. I'm in awe. This place was beautiful. And I go in the door. Well, I'm in there. All of a sudden, it's my wife is next to me. She wasn't in there the whole time, but she was just all of a sudden there with me. And we saw a friend of ours that was sitting at this long, beautiful table. There were servers that were standing all around, dressed very nicely. There were all these people that were sitting around this table. And it appeared that the people that were at the table, they were sick. And our friend actually, she actually experienced just something years ago that's just been a real struggle. Really has put her in a wheelchair, made life very, very difficult for her. And she's just struggled with this for years. Well, anyways, in the dream, and she was sitting down, and but I came up to her, and it's oh my God, you're here, how neat, kind of wow, this place is awesome, where are we, da 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 da. Well, she, before even really saying hi, I heard her cough. Her nose was all red. She's like, "Oh, hi," and she was really nice. But I mean, you could tell that she was suffering. But anyway, she's in this beautiful table, had all this beautiful food. It looked pretty neat stuff. And anyways, well, my wife disappeared. I don't know where she went, but maybe she was just walking around checking the place out. The place looked nice to check out. I mean, you wanted to almost like, hey, let me check this place out. I'll be right back with you. And so that's what I did. I walked around a little bit of the place. I mean, I looked upstairs. I mean, you could tell it had this beautiful staircase, beautiful high ceilings. Just the wood was ornate, just beautiful design. Wood archways. The table was gorgeous. This big, long wooden table, beautifully set. All these people, again, look at everybody at the table was sick, but the servers were all fine, dressed very nicely. Anyways, well, the lady was gone, my wife was gone, and there I am, and these people all over at the table seemed to be occupied. So I decided, hey, I'm just going to walk around a little bit. Well, I walked into the kitchen area, and I noticed there was a back door that was open, and I could hear this beautiful music just coming out of the door. And I'm very curious. I wanted to investigate. So, I kind of looked around the place, thinking, well, I guess, maybe the owner, I don't know, maybe he just allows people to just kind of do whatever they do. So I walked out the back door. And I'm telling you, it was this beautiful garden, beautiful, it was just beautiful. Flowers, trees, birds. I mean, it was wonderful. When I came around the corner and I looked in the backyard, now I'm serious, man, I saw this and I thought this was all real. So trust me, I did not know, had any idea I was still laying in my bed. And I saw 25 to 30 horses, mind you, all different colors, grays, browns, black. They weren't unusual colors, but they were, there was probably 6 or 7 colors, about 30 horses. And they were dancing. Now get this. Dancing in perfect synchronization to this beautiful Christian music that was just in the atmosphere. It was surrounding everything. And I mean, they're, just dancing. I mean, you could see them. And I looked closely and I could see all these other animals, like in water, dancing. I mean, this was just like amazing. And it was so real. It was just like crazy. Well, as I'm trying to carry this in, I'm thinking of my friend that's still inside at the table. My wife was in there. I'm thinking about the guy, that I was with. What happened to the lady? Where is everybody? And, my son just walked across the door. Got the door open because it's a little warm in here. We got a fan blowing. Anyways, haven't turned on the AC yet, so we're trying to preserve a little finances here. A little unlike the house that I was in, because, the atmosphere was perfect. The air conditioning, oh my God, the air, you didn't need air conditioning inside and out, which is gorgeous. So anyways, there I am looking at these horses dancing to this music. And just, it was choreographed. It looked like they'd spent, months to choreograph the whole play, and how each horse moved, and, they would raise their feet and they would stand up on the edge. It was incredible. So all of a sudden at that moment, boom, just like that, I am outside the property line, exactly where I was standing when this gentleman was talking with me, and when when he disappeared and that lady showed up. And that lady's there again with her little flowing, robe or whatever. And she's standing there, and I'm looking at her, I'm looking at the house, I'm looking around, and I asked her, I said, the guy that I was with, because I was thinking, I'm right back at that property line, so I'm thinking, I wonder who he was. And I asked her, I said, excuse me, is he like, the owner of this place? Is he like a Bill Gates or something? I said, word for word, I said the name Bill Gates. I said, is he like a Bill Gates or something? When I asked her, she looked at me like my elevator did not go all the way to the top. She looked at me as though I really didn't get it. And I really didn't. And she said, she like smiled, and she goes, just in this beautiful, just mannerism and just, smile and friendship and goodness. She said, oh no, he is much, much more than Bill Gates. And at that moment I woke up. Well, here I'm in my bed, and I'm thinking, what? You know what I mean? Whoa, hold on. And I'm putting this all together. Well, I hadn't seen this friend in years. and my wife hadn't done anything with her in a long time, and so my wife actually was going to do something with her that very next day. So that morning, I call her up and I tell her my dream of Bill Gates and dancing horses, and that she was at the table, and before, like when she got on the phone, her husband answered. I told her husband, get your wife on the phone. She got on the phone, and the first thing she did was, I heard like she was coughing. Well, in the dream, she was coughing. Her nose was red, and she's like, "Get me a Kleenex," So I actually, in my dream that night, and I hadn't seen her in years, okay, but in my dream that night, she had the same cough and cold that she had in my dream. Now, she's in a wheelchair. She's had a lot of difficulty for many, many years. But, you would just never think even of just a cold and a cough. But in my dream, she was in that state. Well, also, I just noticed I described her to my wife the way I saw her. And I hadn't seen her in years. And my wife looked at me. My wife spent that next day with her. My wife told me afterwards, she said, when you described her, she said, I just had no idea what you were saying. She said, you described her exactly the way she looked when I was with her. And again, I hadn't seen her in years. So it's like the Holy Spirit knows exactly what we look like. He knows exactly what ails us, our sickness. Now, here's the revelation. Are you ready? Watch this. Watch this. It's so cool. The Bible says that he sets a table before us in the presence of our enemies. Those enemies are sickness, suffering, sorrow, death. Illness. She's been in a wheelchair for all these years. But I believe this was greater revelation, and I didn't quite get it because my elevator wasn't going up to the top. You see, the guy that I was walking with the whole time, he was not Bill Gates. No. See, I finally got it. He was much more than Bill Gates. It was Jesus. See, Jesus walked me, because I've been complaining. I had given hundreds of thousands to world missions. And basically here I'm having trouble paying my house, having, difficulty in all these areas financially, going through some stuff. And the Lord gives me a dream, and he shows me, because I actually tell him, it's like, man, my kids don't seem to have as much as I really want them to have. And I've been blessed. Oh my God, God has blessed every category of our life. We've never been without anything. So I'd have to say that God has abundantly supplied all our need. But I think I was just kind of whining. Sometimes we just, complain, we whine a little bit. And in this dream, God was saying, look, just because people are wealthy doesn't mean their kids are that well off. They might have all kinds of great toys, but maybe they don't have that relationship with the parents that they want. And just because people are poor doesn't mean that their life's so bad. They had friends, they were playing basketball, the parents were drinking iced tea, meaning that community wasn't a bad community. No, they had friendship and fellowship. But God showed me a third community, and I believe that community was the kingdom of heaven. And I literally walked across that property line, and I was given a tour. Maybe it was an angel. I don't know who the lady was, but she gave me a tour of his kingdom. And in his kingdom, now, is there sickness in heaven? No, I don't think. I think it was an example. It was an analogy that he's saying, look, in my kingdom, on this earth, those who are on this earth, I still take care of them. I set a table before them in the presence of their enemy. I have my angels ministering to them. And this home was absolutely gorgeous. I don't know whose home it was. It was better than Bill Gates. But it was a picture of the way the kingdom, of the resource, of the economy of heaven runs. And only Jesus has horses that dance. No other person would have something like that. And I'm telling you, that was so awesome, man. These horses were taken care of. They were well protected. They were well fed. You see, if God can take care of horses and have them dance and be full of joy, he can take care of you in your sickness. He can take care of you in your difficulty. He can heal you. He can restore your life. He can bring that joy back in your life. So I want to tell you that Jesus is much, much more than Bill Gates. And he said, whatever you did to the least of these, you did to me. Sometimes Jesus comes in ways that we don't quite understand. I have a couple of videos about, Jesus coming to you in ways, like a little Chinese woman, a black man. Anyways, and you'll have to check those videos out. Look for them because they're really cool. But anyways, Jesus came to me in a way that I didn't understand, and I finally got it.